I think this is a really good game. I definitely think that people should try it and play it just to see the direction that the developers are going in, just to see the stuff they're trying out and everything. I'm making sure that my microphone is actually picking this up because I'm not doing that twice. But anyways, but yeah, just like the direction that they're going in, like the stuff that they're trying, I think is really cool. They're obvious. Like, if I had to give it a score right now, and obviously, like, I don't know if I already said this or not because I don't know how much I was muted on. I assume all of it. But if I had to give it a score right now, I would say it's probably like an 8 out of 10. I would say it's like I mean the story is really good. It's super cool to see them like picking like whenever I was talking on the stream earlier, like all the different things, like, you know, you have some Sonic Adventure here, you have some Sonic Adventure 2, you have Sonic Unleashed, you have freaking Lost World, you have like the really early Sonic games like Sonic CD, Sonic 3, or yeah, that was Sonic 2 and Sonic 3. There was some things there, but it was just really cool. Like, see, like literally they took the entire game's history. And Metal Sonic, Neo Metal Sonic, they mentioned that Sonic Heroes. So they took like the entire game's history and like we're like, oh yeah, well, you know, I remember when this happened, or like whenever, like, oh, this looks like this place, and it's just like, that is so cool. And I really want them to expand upon that, you know? So like, I'm has to breathe there. But like whenever I started the game on Kronos Island and I was like seeing like, you know, Green Hill Zone, Chemical Plant, Sky Sanctuary, I was like, oh man, this is so cool. This is so cool. You know, seeing the, like, especially for me, because I literally just, like, before this game came out, I actually did a Sonic marathon where I was trying to beat as many games as possible. I was actually trying to beat all the Sonic games before Frontiers came out, and I wasn't unfortunately able to do it. But going from like seeing all those old games and then playing Sonic Frontiers, where it takes all that content from those old games, all those story points from that old game, and throws it in here and adds it to their story, I think was really cool. Because like, if they didn't have those story beats to pick on, to pick up from, I don't think like the whole cyber thing would have been that interesting. Because it just, I don't know, like I was, whenever we first saw Sage, I was really worried it was going to be like a less good Infinite, and like Infinite was like, he was okay as a villain. He had a really cool song, but like I was just really worried it was going to be another Infinite. But then like to see, like, I still don't know who the final enemy is. I assume it's that planet destroying thing, but to see like Sage change, it was actually really cool. Like, her character was dynamic. To see, especially the characters in this were so dynamic, and that was like really important to me, because like in the past couple games, like, I mean, I didn't really play Lost World too much, but I did play Forces, or was it Forces? No, what's it called? No, it was Forces. I guess I have it right here. I could just literally look. I think it was called Sonic Forces. Yeah, it is Sonic Forces. So yeah, to play that one, like, especially like when Tails was like running and hiding, it's like as I was playing Sonic Forces, I was like, that's not Tails. Like, I mean, yeah, he's supposed to be more cowardly. I don't even want to say cowardly, but he's supposed to be like not as brave as Sonic. Like, Sonic is like, he can just see like the sun falling down and he's like, yeah, I can do that, I can fight that, I can deal with that, whatever. And Tails is like supposed to be like the realistic, like, you know, sidekick that helps him out in like the situations, you know, has the tornado, like does everything he can to help Sonic. But at the end of the day, Sonic's the hero and Tails is just supposed to be like a supporting character. But in Sonic Adventure 2, which I actually again mentioned earlier in stream, is at the end of Sonic Adventure 2, everyone thinks Sonic dies because he is put in, spoilers, spoiler warning, if you don't want to know the end of Sonic Adventure 2, do not listen now. But he is put, Sonic is put in a capsule in the Death Egg, or whatever was the Ark, I think it was, and launched out into space, and he has no Chaos Emeralds, and it blows up. Like, I mean, they physically see the capsule blow up. And so, like, you know, obviously Tails and Amy are there, and they're like, oh my gosh, you know, like, what are we gonna do? Like, and then Tails freaking steps up and takes Eggman on one, and it was so, I don't know, it like, Tails is my favorite character, so to see my favorite character watch his hero die and immediately step up into a position of like, I am here, I have to stop him, I have to save the world, it's like, this is literally peak Tails. And it's just like, it was so freaking sweet. Like, obviously Sonic survives and, you know, does supersonic, and, you know, obviously he does this whole thing, but like to see Tails step into that position was really cool. So to go from that to Sonic Forces was really unfortunate, because it's just like, you know, you see this character that just had this amazing, you know, moment, and to go to Sonic Forces where he's like cowering and hiding, and it's just like, that is, that's early Tales. That's not the Tales we're at right now. It's just like I don't know. But what was really cool was Frontiers is literally Tales recognizing that. Like, I mean, yeah, it's literally I blame the writers for those games more than I blame the character himself, obviously. But to see them acknowledge that, right? To see them acknowledge Tails' is like inconsistencies throughout the games and have him step into that hero role again. Like, I mean, we haven't really truly seen it yet, but I'm willing to bet in the final boss battle they come out and like they do something each, and it's just like, and especially whenever Tails is like, I'm going to go on my own. I want you to see the hero I will become. It's just like, I was like, oh my gosh, are they going to make a Tails game or something? Because that would be so hype. Like, unironically, that'd be so hype. I would buy that immediately. But it's just like they took, you know, the moment, or like even Sonic said, like, whenever he was like, but well, remember when you saved Station Square, remember when you saved me from the seven deadly sins or whatever they are. I don't know, I didn't play that one, but anyways, whenever he was like, oh, you did this, it's like they are acknowledging that Tails can become this hero, and it's just like to like outpace Sonic, or like to be his partner, and like that was, I don't know, that was so hype. So, but anyways, yeah, that was just kind of my rant on like how excited that is. Like, the story was really good, is what I'm trying to get at. The story was really good. There was definitely some awkward moments with like like the pacing, I guess, where it was just like where they would be like, oh yeah, what's up, Knucklehead, and then like Knuckles would respond with, you know, something against Sonic, and they just kind of stare at each other and like smile or like do something stupid. The pacing was a bit weird, into the like there was a couple points I was like, okay, you kind of, you know, try to make them like they're people talking, not like just like line face. That was kind of weird. But overall, like, the story definitely got better. I think like the Amy stuff was pretty good. The Knuckles stuff was where I really felt like the whole like line pause thing. The Tail stuff was excellent. You could really see the friendship and everything, like them talking, like especially playing the games where they're like talking about it is really cool to see, like, just, I don't know, the interaction there. I would say probably the weakest character obviously is Sage, because she is, you know, from this game, so she has the least in a game all about taking their entire campaign of games and taking that story and just kind of spreading it out over the entire thing. Obviously the character that's from this game will feel the weakest. I mean, that's just, you know, that just makes sense. So I'm curious to see how they end with Sage, because I'm very curious. Like, she seems corrupted, but then she like does that blue thing, and I'm very curious what that's about. I'm also very curious about what they do with the Chaos members, because we know Chaos from Sonic Adventure, where he was in the Master Emerald, and, you know, I almost said Master Eggman, Dr. Eggman got him out, and he became, you know, the world-ending threat. And so I'm very curious on how they're going to do the Chaos race. That's like how they were basically extinct, because Chaos in Sonic Adventure was the last Chaos. That was like the whole, or the last of his people. I don't know if he's necessarily Chaos, but he was the last of his people. So I'm very curious on how they're going to handle that. I think that's going to be really cool. That's actually what I was trying to push through the end, because I really wanted to see that, especially like whenever we kept getting those lore beats from that one island. I was like, oh my gosh, I got to know what happens, especially with the Master Emerald. Gotta take a breath for a second. But there's so much like yeah, the random placement of stuff felt weird, you know, like the rails and everything felt weird. Like, just, I don't know, the rails just thrown in the middle of the air was just really strange for me. I didn't really care for it. Like, it's fun gameplay wise, right? It's fun to literally just be like running around, and then you just go on a rail and you just go like flying through the air really fast, and it's just like, that's cool, right? But it just like, when you're not doing it and you're like staring at it across the map, it looks super strange. Like, if we were in like the cyberspace or whatever, then it's like, okay, well, you know, this is a computer, you can just kind of throw them at whatever, anywhere, that makes sense. But it's just like, when you're in like an open world space and you see like these floating rails, it's just like, why? You know, why? You could have like natural terrain do that or something, which, yeah, I'm sure that would be more of a pain, but it's just, I don't know, it feels weird. Also, the fact that you can just kind of like almost completely skip those portal things also feels kind of weird. I do think it's interesting though, because like that allows you to go fishing. It's like, okay, well, I would rather do fishing than do this, but it gives you a choice, and I think that's really cool. So, you know, like, it's funny from a, how do I want to say this, from a gameplay standpoint, it's extremely fun to just be flying across the map, running across the map, doing all these like little jumping things, or doing all these like little challenges, getting the chaos emeralds, getting the portals, getting the fish, like doing your fishing and everything. That's really cool. That's really fun. I would actually give the gameplay a 10 out of 10. I think the game's incredibly fun to play. I have no issue just running around, just like messing with stuff, seeing what I can do, doing the combos. The combat's really fun, which was actually a massive surprise to me. But just seeing all the things you can do is really sweet. The just like I said, the running around is really fun. The whole infinity symbol thing that you can do, and you just can run like constantly. That's really cool. That's even in the game. The supersonic thing is amazing. Every single supersonic fight has been phenomenal, like 11 out of 10 easily. I will say Giganto is probably still my favorite, just because like at the time, well, first of all, Undefeatable is an amazing song, flat out, like hands down, probably going to become my ringtone. But so that was a lot of it, because like whenever you like get up and this is your first time fighting a Titan, so it's obviously a big moment, and you get that emerald, and then he just like does the supersonic like burst, and then it just starts playing the song. It's just like, oh, this is literally amazing. This is so awesome. The Wyvern fight was okay. I thought it was really easy, because like as you're like flying through and like reflecting the missiles, there's coins or rings. I've been calling them rings, and now I said coins. What's wrong? Anyways, there's like rings everywhere. It's just like there wasn't really a chance to lose. It didn't feel like. It just felt like a matter of like just doing it, I guess. It was still a good fight. Like, it was still a really fun fight and everything, especially when you throw them into the mountain. Like, that's so cool. But I don't know. It just like that one was okay. Night was actually pretty. Night's ending was probably the coolest. Giganto was cool because you literally just spin dash and just went through his body and everything. But Night, where you literally like knock his sword aside and then you like do the side loop to pick it up and just slice him in half. That was badass. I'm not gonna lie, that was freaking sweet. I'm curious to see this next Titan with the jet boosters, and then because I assume we saw it in the flashback, so I assume we fight it, and then whatever the last threat is, because they were preparing for that threat to come and wipe out the planet. So I'm very curious to see. I assume that threat appears, so I'm very curious to see how that goes. But yeah, gameplay 10 out of 10 easily. Music, sound, everything's really solid. Lots of references to the old games. Like there's, I don't know what item did it in this. Oh, I think it was the buttons. Like anytime you would hit those buttons in like the 2D things, and they would like move parts of the stage, there was a sound effect that played that was literally the like anytime you would move in the menu from Sonic Adventure 2, it would make that sound. So it was really cool. I feel like, obviously I feel like they did that on purpose, but like a lot of the sound elements in the game were from previous Sonics, and I thought that was like, I don't know, I just thought that was really cool. It was like such a minor thing. Like, you have like the songs that are just amazing. You have just like the voice acting, which is absolutely phenomenal. To just like, there's these like minor things that as a Sonic fan, I've been a Sonic fan all my life, so like to see these minor things, it was just really cool. It was something I really appreciated as like a longtime Sonic fan. So yeah, sound amazing again. Just like it really adds to it. Story, I mean, we've already talked about the story like a ton. So story, overall arcing story is good. The interplay between the characters is extremely good. The overall story of like the whole cyberspace thing, and like, well, no, that's not even true. Like the cyberspace thing is like okay. Like the cyberspace thing, I would give it like a 6 or 7. Like it's not like I really don't care, because you don't really interact with it too much. The only interaction we have with the cyberspace stuff is with the characters who are stuck in it, and of course anytime we go in the portal and whatever, then I guess. But it's just like it doesn't really feel like, I don't know what the word I want to say here is, but it's not like it's like whenever people like talk about like really high concepts that we don't understand because we physically can't understand them, like we don't have any sort of reference in our world. It's kind of like that, you can't connect to it. I think that's what I'm trying to get to. You can't connect to it. So like that part felt meh. Like it was good, and it's still good, excuse me, And it's getting better as we like meet the chaos people that are like, you know, trying to flee the planet, find a new home for them. And like that's taking the cyberspace stuff that doesn't make sense and taking like real emotions of like, you know, survival and like I don't know, memories and everything, and it connects it, which makes, you know, makes the cyberspace stuff better by comparison, because now it's like, okay, well, this is how they remember things, this is how they do things, and it's just like, okay, well, that's cool, because now you're taking something that I don't understand or I don't have like a concept for, and you're putting it with something I do have a concept for. So it's just like, that's when it starts to get stronger. So like the early part of the game, it wasn't that strong, but like as you progress through the game, more stuff makes sense, it gets stronger. So I will say that it overall with every element included, I would say it's like 8 out of 10, maybe 7. I'm feeling 7. 7's confident. 7's a confident 7. So, which that's, I mean, in my opinion, you just flat can't beat Sonic Adventure. You can't beat Sonic Adventure 2. Those were the best stories for Sonic I've ever played. There was a lot of ones that I skipped. Like I didn't beat. I never even played Sonic Unleashed. No, that's true. That's not true. I played the first level of Sonic Unleashed on like someone's console, and then I played a little bit of Sonic 06. But so there's a couple of Sonic games I didn't play, so I can't really say the story was that good or wasn't. So I'm basing mine off of like the 2D Sonics, all the 2D Sonics, and Sonic Adventure 2. What else Sonics did I play? Sonic Heroes. Oh my goodness. Sonic Forces, obviously, I mentioned that earlier. But anyways, so like the story, 7 out of 10. It was like okay, but it wasn't like, oh my gosh, this is an amazing story. It wasn't Final Fantasy, okay? It wasn't Final Fantasy 14. Final Fantasy 14 is my 10 out of 10 storytelling. But it wasn't that. It was good, but it wasn't like, oh my god. So it, like, I think 7's fair. Oh, I don't know. Just like let me see what other categories we have. Let's see. Sonic Frontiers. Oh, not that. Oh, I have a thing for graphics. The game's gorgeous. I mean, like every part of it's really good. Like I except for that pop-in. That pop-in is nasty. That it's just like, I don't know if there's maybe a setting that I can turn up that I can like adjust that, maybe like load distance or something, if that's an option I can change. But man, especially like if you had 99 speed and you were doing like the full burst 400 rings, that pop-in would be insane. And it's just like there was a lot of times like especially on Chaos Island where I physically could not tell how to get to that island because I couldn't see the rails that connected it. Like they weren't loading in, and it wasn't until that we were almost right on it that those rails even popped in, that I was like, oh my gosh, that's how we get to it. I mean, that was most of the stream, was just me running around freaking Chaos Island trying to figure out how to get on that middle island. So I would say like the game looks good. It's easy to run. They fit the style of the game, but the pop-in is insane. If they need to, they just flat need to fix that. So did it? Would I say that it really detracted from the game though? No, only because like, you know, if it was like a, hey, you have to go from this point to this point, you do nothing in between it, like that's the only way there, that's the only thing you can do, then yeah, it would be super negative. Like if that was in like Sonic Adventure and there was like some insane pop-in in Sonic Adventure, it would be horrible. Like you physically couldn't figure out where to go, because you would have to go, like if you wanted to go to Ice Cap, for example, I don't know, then like if you didn't know the way to Ice Cap, which is actually really easy, and there was just like insane pop in, just like it's like, oh my gosh, there it is. Actually, the Ice Cap's not really a good example. Let me think. Okay, what is a good example? Lost World, but for Knuckles, because you have to find those freaking statue things. Finding them in the jungle with pop-in, no shot. You would not be able to. So in a game like that, it's very detracting. But in this, I think it's fine, because like, yeah, there's pop-in, but you're also exploring the map the entire time. So like, you know, you're running around anyways, is what I'm trying to get to. So it's not like, you know, you need, it's like I'm like talking myself in circles here. If I'm going from point A to point B, I will be going there anyways, because it's like, okay, well, there's a challenge. Like, if this is point A and this is point B, it's like, okay, well, you know, I have to go from point A to point B, but then there's a challenge here, there's a treasure here, there's like maybe some like a guardian to fight here. Oh, I'm at point B. And like a lot of the time, whenever I was running through, it's like a Chaos Island was when I really experienced this. But as a lot of time as I was running through it, hold on. As I was excuse me, but as I'm running through the island, it's like, oh, I didn't even know I was supposed to be here, and now I'm here. So there you go. And I'm starting to lose my voice because I'm talking so much. Hold on 1 second. But anyways, so it was just like it didn't really matter that much, but I would still give graphics. It would lower the graphics score at least to a 9, at least to a 9, maybe even. Let me think of the graphics for a second. No, they did look pretty good. I say like Chaos Island was kind of like, but it was also like a volcano, so like, you know, using Kronos Island as a base. No, dude, the lasers and everything, like the and supersonic. No, I would say 9's fair. The graphics were amazing. Poppin was insane. So Poppin just detracts from that, so that's fine. Story, I think I said 7 out of 10, didn't I? I'm actually gonna write this down because I'm actually going to prepare this for my review I want to get out. Replayability. Okay. Does this game have replayability? Depends, I guess. It's like, will I replay it? Oh yeah, for sure, definitely, 100%. I would definitely replay this. For the main reason of I want to get 100% in this game. Anytime I like a game a lot, I will try to get 100% in it. Like I got 100% Elden Ring or whatever. But so I will definitely replay it. But even like just to like fight everything, like, you know, doing the portal stuff that you missed, like, I mean, like, especially the portal stuff, it's just like, okay, well, I got 2 vault keys from this, but you know, I could do 2 more things in it, so that like makes you want to go back and do all that stuff again. It's just like, okay, so in that case, then yes, it would have replayability. But as for the actual story, it can't hit the same way twice. You know, it's like no matter there's no changing how it would be different. Like you can't change the story. The story will always be the same every replay. So for that, no, I would say it's you don't have any replayability there, but the game is very fun in the gameplay section. So if like I could see someone getting this game, beating it, maybe like a year later, coming back and just replaying it. It's like, oh, maybe they forgot some of the story, so it'd be like kind of a refresher, or maybe it's just like, okay, well, you know, maybe like another Sonic game's coming out, and you're like, oh, well, I'm going to check out what their last Sonic game was like. So Sonic Frontiers, I'm going to check out what this Sonic game was like to see kind of like what to expect with this new one, which is actually what I did with Sonic Frontiers, admittedly. But so I mean, like, there is replayability. Oh, and there's also difficulties. Like, so I played on hard, so in that regard, I there's obviously no replayability because I played it on the hardest setting, which, by the way, I totally recommend. It's like hard is not that hard, so I don't even want to know what easy's like. Easy probably just be like punch a boss and it dies, but like I definitely recommend hard. It's not that bad. But so if you did play on easy, well, then you have medium, then you have I had to like use my hands up here. It's very weird. But you have like, if you played on easy, well, then now you have medium, now you have hard. So there's replayability. I would like to see other characters be options, which I'm still saying I'm 99.99999% sure won't happen, because the skill tree, like if they had other characters, then they'd have to have other skill trees, and that's just not feasible. That'd be something they would have to like, they would have had to market it as that, and like with the intention of that being the main thing. And then of course there's like some parts of the game where it's like very specifically Sonic, so like Psyloop. Well, I mean, Psyloop, no, it would be Psyloop, because there's like certain puzzles and everything. Like, I mean, you would have to change literally everything for it to be more characters. That would be a cool way to do replayability, is have more characters, different stories. I don't know, that'd just be an option. But replayability, I don't know if that's a super fair like category to be of itself. I think that kind of falls under gameplay in a way. it's kind of like the overall game feel. So I guess it would be kind of fair to be its own category. But even still, I would say I would still give it a pretty high score, because like for myself, like I'm going to go through, I'm going to get 100%. I want to do all the fishing stuff. I definitely want to see if I can find Froggy. That'd be really cool. I'm going to doing guides. I'm going to be doing like challenges for this game. I might even see about like what the speedrunning community is for this game. And so for me, the game would have a ton of replayability. But like for your average player, probably not. Like, I mean, it's probably like relatively like every Sonic game, you know, like you play it once and then you don't play it for like a year, a couple years. You know, maybe you're like doing a challenge. It's like, oh, well, I'm going to play, you know, Sonic games, these Sonic games, and it's just like that's when you would replay it. You wouldn't replay it like, okay, I beat it. Well, now I'm going to try to beat it on this next, you know, different thing. I don't think it has that kind of replayability, but like I said, it does have difficult replayability. So there's some options there. I gave it an 8 out of 10 in my initial like kind of thoughts to myself, and I do think that's a fair score. Because like I said, for myself, I would probably give it 10 out of 10 because I'm going to get like a ton of hours out of this, and I really like the game, and so that yeah, that'll be fine. But I think for your average person, 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10, that's fair. So I have Sound of Music on here, which I 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. We talked about that again. That game's awesome. Gameplay 10 out of 10. Story 7 out of 10 is fair. Graphics I actually have it as a 9.5 on here. We're going to drop that to a 9 out of 10 really quick. Oh, and then the last thing I have here is overall value. So how much, like, there's been a lot of games coming out that like they try to sell it to you saying, oh, you know, well, there's all this content in this game, and you know, you could do all this, and it's like, and then they try to sell it as like $70-$80. It's just like, what I'm trying to reach here is the overall value is this game worth its price, right? So a game that I actually have these broke down to here, let me actually pull up the broke down thing really quick. So basically, whenever, actually no, that's the other thing. That's the score comparisons. I'll get to that in a second. I'll explain how that works in a second. Okay, here we go. So basically, I have an overall value scale, right? And the higher it is on the scale, obviously, the better score. So I have a couple categories here. I have worth above its asking price, about right, asking for more than it's worth, and not worth the cost or overly expensive. So and for each of these, I have examples. So worth above its asking price would be like Skyrim, The Witcher 3, just like these massive games with so much content in them that it like, I mean, freaking Skyrim, that game came out like like a decade ago, if not more. I think it came out in 2012, so it'd be like a decade ago, and it's still being sold, you know, still being updated, still being modded, and like you can go into that game and you can find things you didn't even know existed. So I definitely think, like my friend plays Witcher, so he, you know, tells me all about that and like how good it is. Like, I mean, Witcher has, you know, the monster hunting. Witcher has like you go out and find plants. Well, then you can take those plants, and if you have the recipe, you can convert those plants to like a specific poison that hurts ghosts. Well, then now you have a contract to hunt this ghost. Well, then you go to this town at a certain time, use this poison on your weapon, and now you can hunt that ghost and then save, you know, find details about different things. And the game's so freaking ridiculous. I could actually never get into it because it had so much detail. But I heard that game's phenomenal. I'm specifically talking about Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, by the way. But like for me, it was Skyrim. Skyrim, like I would play that game, bunch of different builds. Like I would do, you know, I would always start as like all these different things. I would start as like mage, fighter, rogue, archer, what have you, and it would pretty much always turn into assassination. But there's so many options, so many different like paths you can take, so many different ways to explore, so many different ways to level up, so many different perks to take. It's like, holy crap, you know, how is this $60? But that I would say is worth above its asking price. Now for about right, interestingly enough, I actually have Mass Effect 3 here. So when I say that, I played the multiplayer like almost exclusively for like the longest time. And the multiplayer, yeah, it's pretty good. I actually really liked it, especially on the Xbox. I had a good time. But the campaign is really solid, and like, you know, thinking about it, like all the stuff that goes into Mass Effect and all the different parts I enjoyed and everything, it's just like you looked at it, it's like $60. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, ME3's story, obviously it was hotly debated at the time on how good it was. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really worth the price. I thought being able to explore the Citadel and look at all the different shops, go to the dance club, and I don't know, just like it didn't have as many options, but it still had a lot of options, and it was still like I thought it was fair. Like it felt like a full game, Now, for asking for more than it's worth, I have Destiny 2, and which is funny coming from someone that played Destiny 2 like literally like crazy. But it's just like, I don't know. Anytime a game that you charge full price for has some sort of like premium shop that everyone uses, it just gets kind of it's just like gross and whatever. And like, I mean, there's a lot of games that could fit asking for more than it's worth. I mean, like freaking like right now Overwatch is would go into this category, or I would almost drop Overwatch into the next category with not worth it for the cost or overly expensive, only because obviously Overwatch 2 is free. Like we all, it's a free game. But what sucks is like I don't want to make this stream a crap on Overwatch thing, but basically like just their system sucks is all. But anyway, the one I actually do have for not worth the cost is Sims 4, and it's just like I love Sims, I do. Sims 3 is my favorite Sims, but Sims 4 having all of its content locked behind this super massive DLC price is just like, nah, dude, get that out of here. But anyways, so for Sonic Frontiers, let me see. I actually wrote it down. I actually did give it a 10 out of 10, which would be it's not Skyrim, right? It's not Skyrim, it's not Witcher, it's not that level of detail, it's not that level of content. But you know what it is like? It is very much like Breath of the Wild. And I would easily give Breath of the Wild a 10 out of 10. Breath of the Wild give it an 11 out of 10. Give it whatever it's want to. That's the best game ever. But but it's not that. It's not that. And I like, I recognize that, we talked about it. It's not. I actually have it placed between the top two categories of Witcher 3 and Mass Effect. So typically, if it was like about right, then it would be, I don't want to give it a lower score because like that doesn't feel right. If something is like accurately priced, it should be a 10 out of 10. That would make sense. Like, if anything, worth above its asking price, like Witcher 3 or Skyrim, should make that value, 11 out of 10 or something, just because it's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I get so much content for so much time and whatever. So that's why I gave it a 10 out of 10, is because it's between those two categories, because it definitely feels Breath of the Wild without being, I mean, Breath of the Wild, there's so much freaking detail in that game too. Like, you would just travel to like a random ruin somewhere and you would find one of those Sheikah shrines, and it's just like, so like to that degree that's where it earns its 10 out of 10. But it definitely spoke Breath of the Wild to me in many ways. Like, I mean, being able just to run around and like find all the different like rails and everything, and like, I don't know, it just, even though it like didn't really super contribute much, it still gave you something, and like all the different challenges and everything. So I do think, and like the sound, the gameplay and everything, I do think it's 10 out of 10. I think that's fair. So I am currently working on the final score, and then I have a seal of approval and seal of failure. I will keep those to myself for now. Those will be in the video that I make. So I might not even give it either. Obviously, I won't give it a seal of failure. That's not gonna happen. Not with how much I like the game, but but we're waiting to see on seal of approval, because seal of approval is kind of like my mark of go buy this, and as a newer content creator, and especially this is going to be my first review ever, I won't have a lot of, I don't want to say sway, but like I won't have a lot of like what's the word, like customer trust, I guess. I don't know. But basically, people won't really value my opinion on things, but that's why I kind of want to like reserve seal of approvals for games that I truly believe people should purchase. So we'll see if it gets it. I'm going to review. I'm actually going to download this video, the stream of that I'm doing right now, and I'm going to go through everything. I have past streams that I've downloaded. I have my content that I'm working on for guides right now, which I'm debating about going and finishing at 11:35 a.m. And then I'm just going to look through everything. I'm going to watch, a lot of stuff, and I'm going to decide if it's something I truly feel like I can recommend someone. And if so, then it'll get it.